who will help guide you to the next stage of your career. I am here with my guest tonight, Tashina Bridgeford Cunningham. This is a special show for me because not only is she an expert at what she does, she is my big cousin. Yay! You wouldn't know what to look at us because I'm taller than her by a lot, but she has always been there. She has always been there to support me. I have looked at her life from, being a baby because she was older than me. Not to rub that in, but I watched her life and I watched how she grew into a woman that I'm proud to call my cousin. She is a wife. She is a mother. She is a teacher, and she is an entrepreneur. She works for the school system teaching young children, and she is a consultant for Pampered Chef. What makes me even more proud and give me some bragging rights is the fact that she is so close to do $1 million in sales. Yay! Let's welcome my cousin. I wish I had the clapping sound. Hi, Tay.
Hi, Trina. Thank you so much for having me on your call.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for accepting. I know that you are super, super busy, so I am honored that you were able to take the time to speak to me and to speak to my audience on today.
No problem. I am completely honored. And before we start anything, I just want to publicly say how extremely proud I am of you. As she said, she is my younger cousin, and I'm extremely proud of all of the things that you've accomplished in your life. And this is just yet another avenue of how you can get out there and help people. And I am truly, truly blessed to have you as a part of our family.
Oh, you about to make me cry. Don't do that on the live air.
No tears tonight.
I'm going to get right to it, and I'm going to just ask you my first question, which is, how did you come to have your own business? What made you want to have your own business?
Okay, so honestly, I never thought that I was ever going to be a business owner. So what Pampered Chef is it's a home-based business. It's a direct sell company. It's a home-based business that we sell high-quality kitchen tools by way of cooking parties. So I was back in 1999. I was invited to a cooking party. I didn't know what I was being invited to, honestly. I received an invitation, and on the invitation it said, in order to plan our menu, please RSVP. Honestly, I said, we're going to eat. I need to go. Whatever this is, I need to go. So I went, and the consultant at the time was talking about all of the different products. I did fall in love with all of the products. And at the time, I was a brand new wife, had one 8-year-old and a brand new baby. She was 3 months at the time. And we were young. My husband was new in the military, so we didn't have a lot of money. So I decided to start the business to get products for free. And that was what drew me to it. What I did not know was that I would fall in love with owning my own business and being able to do things my own way and have work on my own schedule. But also, as a wife and mom, we tend to put people in front of us, our husbands, our children, other people. This was my way to get out and do my own thing and have fun, and I enjoyed it. And here I am, almost 20 years later, still enjoying it. So
Wonderful.
That's how I got started with that. It was something that I did first kind of out of necessity, just to get the products for free or at a discount. And over the years, it just snowballed into my own business that I had that was really just for me. Because as a mom, as a wife, as a teacher, people are always cutting pieces of my pie. This is something that I had for myself.
That's awesome. And you touched on so many things that I talk to my clients about who are wives and mothers or wives, just wives by themselves or just mothers by themselves. um, is that their last tend to be last because
Yeah.
their husbands need things, their children need things, and so you're being pulled in so many different directions. And this helped actually give you a little bit of balance in your life by having something that was yours. You
Yes.
also went for the necessity piece as look, we're young and married, and we don't have that much money. I'm gonna try to get some stuff for free.
Exactly.
And that is what works. And you weren't looking for a business. And I tell people you have to look at opportunities where they come. You might not necessarily be looking for them, because I was like you. I wasn't looking to have a business. I really fell into the career services piece of it. And unlike you just went into it because you loved it. Me, I fought it. I was like, no, I'm not going to be a business person. But when I embraced it, I found that piece, like you said, that even though I'm helping other people, it was my way to be me. Because when you're working for someone else, you have to follow their rules. You have to fit their mold. But when you are truly find your passion, you really find your place, you find a whole lot of fulfillment in it. So is you're helping other people, but there's the selfish side of it that is like, wow, I really feel fulfilled at the end of the day.
Exactly. And that's exactly how I feel. It's my kind of way. And at the time, my husband was working full time. Like I said, I had a 3-month-old baby. So I was home all day with kids. So it was my adult time away and time to give the kids time to hang out with dad and spend that quality time with dad. So that's kind of how I started. And of course, life changes and kids get older and things like that. And it has evolved since then, but that's how I actually got started. And it was just a perfect fit for my family because it's, although it is and Trina, I'm sure you know this part, but although it is a business where you do cooking shows, I did not know how to cook. So when I said to my husband, I'm going to I said, I think I want to become a consultant. And he said, didn't you say that lady went to someone's house and cooked? And I said, yes, but the thing is, they teach you how to cook because with our business, we do training and we have to practice the recipes. And so he wrote that check so fast. He said, they're going to pay you to learn how to cook? Yes. So, but I promise I'm a much better cook now, and my family does thank me for it. But that was, and that's one thing about this business, because we do have the structure of being under another umbrella, that there is training and resources out there to actually help to make sure that your business is a success.
That's awesome, and you made some good points. I will say, I did know that you didn't cook like that, but from a kid, you made pancakes, and I loved them, so that was good for me.
I made pancakes, hot dogs, and spaghetti. That was my specialty. Yes, ma'am.
I was good. I was like, you making pancakes? I'm there. But I can attest that she is a much better cook. Um,
Yes.
I've had things since she's evolved. Also, if you follow her on her Facebook page, which I will provide at the end of the show, you will see all kinds of stuff that she cooks that makes my mouth water, that makes me wish I was closer to where she lives so I can knock on the door for dinner.
Yes.
But she is very good, and she evolved, and she made a good point, and you made a very excellent point as far as how the business evolved with you. So you had a business that you could do part-time. You were a stay-at-home mom, and it was time for you to have adult time,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything like that, and how that is so important when you are a stay-at-home mom, or even if you work and come home because you're working all day and everything is about your boss, your boss, your boss, the customers, and then you come home and the kids are crying, and the husband's like, "Where's my dinner?" So it's good to have that balance where you can have that me time, where you can take that breather, where you can be Tashina and not honey and not mom. So having that balance, and the theme for the day and this is why I wanted you here, is because you juggle so much and you balance so much, is how to have that balance as a working mother and wife. And you do double duty because you teach and you do this business. I know that you were part-time at first, and I believe you went full-time. But now you teach, so I'm not sure if you're back down to part-time or if it evolved that you can do both full-time. So can you give me a little bit more on that?
Okay, yes. So initially I started just to do a few shows and a few shows a month, just to, like I said, to get the free products. But then I saw the potential, and it did evolve into a full-time business. And for 7 years, I worked Pamper Chef just strictly as a full-time business. I didn't work outside the home. I only had my business, and I was able to be there with my children as they grew older to get them off to school and to take care of them and just to be there with them and still run my business. And I was running a very successful business. As I mentioned, my husband is military, and we moved to an area where home-based businesses were not allowed. So that was kind of very devastating to my business. I know a lot of people they make the decision, well, I'm not going to go to this area of the world because I can't do what I want. But we prayed about it and just really came to the conclusion. We went, and this is when we went to Italy. Why pass up a chance to go to Italy? But at that time, I was not able to run my business full time. So financially, I did need to get a job. So I did go back to teaching at that point. I still would run, the beauty of this is I was still able to run my business through the cyber world. That's when Facebook and everything was first coming out. So I was able to do a lot of online business, but I wasn't able to actually, it was literally against the law for me to go out and do an actual cooking show. So that kind of hurt, but I feel like it just made me more resilient because when we got back to the States, I mean, I've been with Pamper Chef at that point for over 12 years at that point, and I knew it was my baby, just like one of my other babies. So I was not going to give it up. So I just kind of had to do my own. I went back to work. I actually went back to work and back to school at the same time, and I ran my business on a very part-time basis until we got back to the States. So we moved back to the States, and I continued teaching because that's what I was already in the groove of teaching, I'll say. So I continued teaching, and then I went to do my business part-time. Right now, I would say that I'm still part-time, but I'm working my way back up to full-time because as with any business, you need to rebuild your clientele. You need to reestablish those relationships and get my business built back up. And that does take some time. So although I am working full-time, I am doing my business, working that back up to full-time too. And with any business, it goes through different peaks and valleys, and it depends on where you are in your life. As I mentioned, when I first started, my middle daughter was 3 months old. I've then since had another daughter. That 3-month-old is now a sophomore in college, and I have a 15-year-old now. So, I mean, the business has completely evolved, and now I can work it more on a full-time basis, even though I have a full-time job, because I have, like, little helpers. They were raised in the business, so they know there's things that they need to do. I mean, and my driver now is going around taking things to the post office for me and dropping off. I just put together a bunch of Christmas gifts for some of my customers. She's going out delivering those while I can work on other things. So I made it more of it's a family business as well. And I think that's where the balance comes in because we are still spending our time together. So we're spending our time together, wrapping the gifts, putting together the bags, doing different things. And then she's able to go and do the drop-offs and things like that for me. So you do have to create a balance. And as far as balance in my relationship, and I know you and I talked about that, with my family doing all of the things that they do, my 15-year-old and my husband, they have Taekwondo 3 nights a week. Wednesday night is usually our date night. So
Mhm.
I talked to Trina, and I said, okay, well, let me talk to Damien because I know the show is on a Wednesday and it's date night. So he said, okay, go ahead. You can go ahead and do that. I'll go out and do some Christmas shopping. So it's about that communication with everyone in your family and letting them know this is what I have. There's been times where I was not able to make all of the softball games or the baseball games or whatever because I was running my business, because building a business does take work. But as long as you're open and you're communicating with that, it's not going to be looked at as, oh my gosh, mom's always missing something. It's they see, if you reward in the end for what you miss in the beginning, then they'll understand, especially if you let them know and it's not just a, oh, well, I'm caught here, I'm caught there. Just make sure I strategically plan my days and my schedule and my calendar so that I know what's going on when, and I can kind of pick and choose what I'm going to do. Because I hate to say it this way, but we don't need to be, I feel, I don't need to be at every single baseball game. I gotta make it. I gotta go to championships, and I have to go to homecoming. But the other ones in between, I don't need to be at every single one. Mom and dad can kind of tag team on that,
Right.
and that's where it comes in. Where especially when you're building any kind of business, you have to know that there's going to be some kind of sacrifice. I know a lot of people say you can have it all. You can have your kids, you can have your business, you can have everything. You can, but not all at the exact same time. And some things have to sacrifice. So if you have something going on work-wise, you may not be able to do the kids stuff. If you have something going on with the kids, you may not be able to do the work-wise. But you have to continually but you have to continually lay out your schedule and decide what you're going to do at that time, because you can't do everything. You will drive yourself crazy.
Right. Right. And that's so true. You made some good points, but I'm gonna start with the sacrificing. And I do tell my clients that there is going to be some sacrifice. There are going to be some things that you can't do. You and I both know, because we've had conversations about this, that some things I had to miss.
Yes.
To my broken heart, some things I had to miss, and everything like that, because I was going to school, or I had to work, because I had a job at one point that had me working a lot of hours, along with trying to run the business. Sometimes, when something was scheduled and it was a big family thing, I had already scheduled something for work the year before.
Yes. Exactly.
And I was just like, oh no, send me all the pictures.
Yeah.
So I do get that, and I do get that heartache of that, and not even necessarily the heartache, but like you said, reward in the end for what you missed in the beginning. Because we've discussed that too, and you have seen me a little more in recent years. After schooling and things like that, I'm able to move things around a little bit more and work things for the business. And you brought up how the business evolves. You started part-time, then you were able to do it full-time. Then you had the aspect that some people have with military husbands, or just their husband in general. They get another job in another country or another state, and it changes how you can run your business. Business changes from country to country and state by state, and you have to follow the law there. So you could have been doing great in one part of the world or one state or city, and then you move to another area, and it kind of knocks you off your block for a little bit. But you stated being resilient and learning how to work around it. Sometimes is understanding the law. Sometimes it's, especially now, is okay. I might not be able to have a show, but I can do internet, and everything, and use that. And I, for one, I'm glad that she has internet, because I have ordered stuff from Pamper Shop online, and I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. So I'm happy about that. Oh my goodness, I lost my place. One second. Oh, the balance with the relationship, with your children, with your husband, having that communication, letting them know what's going on, especially with the date. When you said date night, I said, oh, she's not going to do this. So when you called me and you saw me, I was thrilled. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Oh, you gave up date night. So it's the thing of having that relationship and talking and communicating and letting them know what's going on. Tell Damien, by the way, I said thank you
I
for
will.
letting you come on. Go ahead.
You're welcome. And one thing I want to say with that is when you do have, we talked about sacrifices, when you do have to sacrifice what you're doing, when you do have that time, be there and be present in the moment.
Right.
Don't make the time that you have with your mate or your children or whoever, your cousin, that you're spending the time with, be a time when you're on your telephone or a time when you're doing something else. Make it be a time when you are exclusively connecting with them, so they don't feel bad when she's off to work, but also when she's with us, she's on the phone with me. And I'm saying this from experience because my kids are very candid. They'll say, "Okay, Mom, you're with us, but this is in your test. You're with us, but you're on your phone." And yes, I'm on the phone trying to help a host or on the phone trying to get orders, but this is time that I should be with my family. So just make sure that you are there and you are present in the moment, and then they won't resent the time that you do need to be away.
That is so true, and that's a good point that I had to learn too. Because and I still do travel with my computer. But I've gone down, as you know, because my brother is also military, have traveled with my computer, and I was there with my computer on my cell phone, and again, my brother is very candid. That's a family trait. Was like, what are you doing?
You could have stayed home for that, right?
Right. He was like,
you were going to work the whole weekend. You could have stayed home. Yeah.
Right. He was like, you're not supposed to be at work. You're supposed to be here enjoying the moment. And so then I was just like, okay. And it comes to that communication. I say that because a relationship is a relationship, whether it's a brother, whether it's a husband. There are different forms, but it was just like, okay, I'm down here. I want to spend this quality time with you. All right. Can I have a certain amount of time down here?
Yeah.
And what would be the best time for me to do the work that I need to do? And so we even down there set up a schedule because, during the bulk of the day, I'm with them. But early in the morning, because I'm an early riser, I get up when the sun comes up, whether I want to or not. So I would do some things there. I'd go to sleep late and everything like that. So when the house was sleeping, I was doing stuff. But I was present in the moment. And also being present in the moment, you remember the moment with your family. Like even the last time, I spent time with you, I remember that I was not on my phone at all. And every now and again, I even talked to my mom about it. I was like, yeah, the last time Tay came up here was like da-da-da-da. Remember she said da-da-da-da. And we laugh about certain things.
You can remember the conversations more. You can remember the interactions more. Whether you took pictures or not, you have those visual pictures because you were there, you were in the moment.
Yes.
And I'm just like you when it comes to I have to be doing my work, but I can do it when everybody's sleeping, or if the kids are at the pool, or something, or a different time like that, where I am not losing the interactions with them. So with any person running a business, you just have to figure out when you can find those pockets of time.
Right, exactly. And that is key, finding that sweet spot, that sweet time, whether you're with your family at home, whether you're traveling to see your family, just finding that perfect moment where you're not disrupting the family time.
Yes.
And that's why I was like, that was key. When you said that, be present in the moment, I wrote it down and put stars around it. Because I was like, that is so key. And it's a lesson that I learned that I don't think I ever really shared with anybody because I just learned it and I started doing it. But that is so true, to be there. And, it's more memorable for the people that are there. Like you said, they don't feel robbed because it's like, okay, she's here, but she may as well not be here.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So
Mhm.
that's a wonderful thing. And back to the business evolving because you had very young children at one point. They're all older.
Yes,
That time went by so fast. Maybe not for you because you like they live with you, but
yes. But no, it went by very fast. I mean, my 28-year-old was 8 going on 9 when I started the business. So she's now a wife, a mom, a wife and a
yes,
mom. So it is mind blowing. So
yes, yes, and awesome. And I was there through all of the not all the pregnancies, but the births, um,
yes,
and seeing them as kids and
everything
growing
get
up and
older.
everything like that. And so it's amazing to me, and the fact that as they grew, they became a part. Um,
Yes,
of the business and how you can have that and you didn't even force it on them, they just fell into alignment. And I
yes,
found that to be the case, like when you're doing it and people, they see you have that time with them, and then they see you successful where you are, and they see that you're happy, they come and they come and support. And that's the
yes,
same thing that I've seen with my family, after all of the working and everything like that. It's like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, she's really doing something and everything. And so they come and they help. And, so you can, move that time and go into that time frame where you have family time, even in business time, and everything like that. So I like that portion of it. And everything like that. And the sound advice that you have, with women and people in general, not necessarily even just women. If you're a man and you have a business and you're starting a business and you have a family, these are things that you need to consider. You have to have that
exactly.
communication with your family. You have to balance things. You have to have a calendar and organization, which that is me in a nutshell. I have a calendar for everything to
Mhm.
try to get everything together and planned and scheduled.
Yes.
And
If
I,
it's
I
not on the
think that
calendar, then I can't do it. I put free
exactly.
time on the calendar, no matter what
Me
we're doing.
too.
Okay, this
Yes.
month is free.
Yes.
So yes.
And you're right. If it's not on the calendar, well, you've heard me say that. I don't. It's not on my
Yes.
schedule.
Yes.
And I always tell people, I'm like, tell me something in advance. Don't wait until the week of. You might not even be able to get me the month off. Tell me in advance so I can put it on there so I can schedule the time out. I can make myself available and make myself free so I can be present and there in the moment. And that's, again, very important to me. Like you said, whether you have the pictures, you have the memories. And so that is so important. I know I'm stressing that, but I do want to stress that for us workaholics. Be there in the moment
Mhm.
so you can remember. Okay, so back to coming to the States. When you came back to the States, you went to. Were in school while you were in the States, or were you in school while
No,
you were in the?
I
Go ahead.
completed all of my extra degrees. That I went back to school to get a master's in special education. I figured kind of, well, I couldn't run my business as much as I wanted to, so I had this, I'm doing air quotes, free time. I went and got another degree. So during that time, I got a degree in special education, and then I began teaching in the school system. We Our time in Italy had ended, and we went to Louisiana. I was already used to teaching, so even before we left Italy, I applied for a job to teach in Louisiana. So I knew that I was going to rebuild my business, but I also knew that it was going to take time. So I knew I was going to work it, but I knew that I needed income at the time as well. So I started teaching again. Louisiana was not a great fit for me and my family. So And it was kind of a culture shock for us to come back overseas, period, because we had spent 15 years in Europe between Germany and Italy. We had spent 15 years over there. So my youngest daughter did not even live in the States. Like that was her first, she'd come to visit, but she had not even lived here. So it was kind of a culture shock. So
Right.
I just long story short, I applied to go back overseas, but in the federal government teacher system, DODEA, you have to, you just, they picked me up in North Carolina opposed to go back overseas. Again,
Mhm.
our family prayed about it, and I ended up moving here for my job, and my husband stayed in Louisiana, and he then retired, and then now we're together here in North Carolina. So my whole life kind of took a different turn, and Pamper Chef wasn't so much on the back burner, but it wasn't full focus for me at that time, which in my mind was okay because, as I mentioned, I'm never going to give it up.
Mhm.
I'll work it enough to make sure that it sustains and that it survives and that I keep my client base and that I keep a presence, but it wasn't my full focus at the time, which is okay when you're doing any business. As long as you have that passion, I feel, and as long as you have the dedication, you will always be able to pick up your business where it leaves off.
Right.
If you and that's with any business. If you open up a store and for some reason it doesn't work out, or if the rent is too high in this area, if it's a dream of yours, I encourage you to never give that up. I mean, with the way that the world works now, you can open up your store online and start selling stuff on Instagram.
Right.
You can definitely make it work. So we're in the age right now of what we call side hustles. So
Mhm.
yes, I'm a full-time teacher, and Pampered Chef might be my side hustle, but Pampered Chef is what I consider my fun job. It is my I work with I work with preschoolers with disabilities. So
Mhm.
all of my children, I mean, it's hard enough to be just a preschool teacher because you have 4 and 5 year olds running around, but all of
Right.
the students that I teach have some sort of disability. So I feel
Right.
that my job is doubly challenging. So I need that outlet of Pampered Chef to just kind of decompress and get out of not so much the real world, but to do something fun and that I enjoy. And when I'm up in front of my customers talking, or when I'm helping someone to outfit their kitchen, that's that's where I find my joy, and I don't have to think about all of the other stuff that's going on in my life. So find your passion in your business, and when people say when you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life.
Mhm.
That's true, because you don't feel like it's work. You do have to work, and you do have to put in a lot of time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears, as they say. But you're doing it because you know you're going to see it in result. You're doing it for a specific goal, and that is going to just give you pride.
Right. And I'm gonna break for a minute, and then we're gonna come back. This is an awesome interview with Tashina Bridgeford Cunningham, and we're just gonna come back in about a minute or so.
Are you frustrated with your job search? Have you been applying for positions but haven't received any interview calls? Have you been in a position for some time now and want to apply for a promotion or want to move to another company? Do you need help updating your resume and/or LinkedIn profile?
Okay, I think we have some technical difficulties with. Are you still there, Tay?
I am, yes.
Okay. Um, so sorry for that. To my sponsor, we're gonna maybe try to see later on in the show if we can get that queued up. Um,
Okay.
but I wanted to hit on some points that you made. One is the fact that you spent 15 years in Italy, and
Well, not in
so
Italy, in Europe. We had 12
it.
years in
Oh,
Germany
in
and
Europe.
then 3 years in Italy. Yes.
Okay, so Yep, get it right, Trina. Um, 15 years in Europe. Um, and so your children were used to, because 15 years is a big span. So your children were used to being in another culture and immersed in another culture. So when you came back, it was culture shock. And so if you were working the business or, went to part-time, but when you came back, you had to work with your children to adjust to a whole new environment. So not just a whole new school, but a whole new country as a whole, and everything like that. Because the way things are done in Europe are not necessarily done the same way in the States and everything.
That
so
is
they
correct.
had to.
Exactly true.
Yes. Because I love my time outside of the country too. And so you have to adjust to the culture of things, how things are done. Even, eating in restaurants and going out is totally different here than it is other places. So you had to adjust to that, as well as teaching and moving to another state because it didn't quite fit the family structure, and being separated from your spouse for a while until, things changed and he had retired and everything like that. So it was a lot of things going on at the same time in your life. And so juggling all of that, and you were able to juggle all of that. And like you said, by, when you work in a business, finding your passion and not letting that go. And I do agree with the saying that if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I do wholeheartedly believe that. And I believe, too, because when you work and you're working in your passion, yes, you're working towards a goal, but like you said, this is your fun job. You actually enjoy it, and the day goes by faster when you're actually enjoying what you do. So, I think that is a good point when people are working their business. Find the passion and hold on to that passion. Hold on to why you went into the business in the first place.
In the first place, yes.
Because sometimes it can get taxing, and sometimes if you're not careful, you can lose sight of that. Like, why did you do this in the first place? And so holding on to that and holding on to that passion helps you in the tough times when you have to do a move where, now you're adjusting to, because it may not even be a whole nother country. Your child might go from elementary school to junior high school, or junior high school to high school, and things could change. They could have been, the greatest basketball player in junior high school, and then they got to high school, and maybe they were in the middle of the ranks. So now you have to adjust your child to that. And so, and when you're balancing those things, you just have to keep, your eye on the ball. You can turn from it for a moment to handle life and handle business, but don't lose sight of it and come back to it. And that is very important in business, because when people are in business for a while, because I coach people who are in business for a while where they have lost that focus, So I like the fact that you brought that up about finding that passion and staying on it and not letting it go, because there was a reason why you went into the business in the first place. And so with that, and the fact that when you're saying things change in business, every business, you have your highs, you have your lows, you have your peaks, you have your valleys, and you have to be able to adjust even in those times, and the changes that it takes from that. You may go from part-time to full-time, because let me tell you, when I went full-time into my business, it was a wonderful thing for me for about 6 months. Where everything was going great, business was great, the clients were there, it was awesome sauce. Well, went through one of those valleys, and I was just like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to have to get some more clients or go back to work. Well, I got some clients here or there, went through my little dry spell, and found out in my industry you have your dry spells, and I had to go back to work. For me, that was hard because I worked from home. I was outside of the work a lot, and I traveled for my business. But pretty much when I was in the office, I was in the office by myself, and I had to go back to working in the office with hundreds of people, hundreds of different personalities, and that was a shock to my system to have to do that. And I know that you went from full time to part time to having to, well, not having to working as a teacher. Did you find it a culture shock for yourself, going to having to deal with all of these personalities, not for business, but in a work setting?
Oh, good gracious, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And I feel like I'm still getting adjusted. I went from, and just even the way that my school now is set up is considered a 21st century school. So we we have a collaboration area where it's me and four other teachers. Well, even before, I was used to going into a classroom and I can close my door and it's just me. So I had to get adjusted to a lot of different things when it came to moving back to the States. And it does take takes a lot of getting used to. I'll say that. And then, yes, with the different personalities. And we're talking a lot about, because specifically for me, they're moving from one country to another. But when you're moving from one state to another, I mean, you move from Philadelphia down to North Carolina. It is completely different.
Yes.
Completely different. I mean, there's a store on every corner. There's a bus stop on every corner. Here, if you don't have a car, you can't go anywhere. So you have to look at all of those things when you're looking at not just your family, but your business as well.
Right. 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 And that is an excellent point. You move from state to state, things are different. I mean, even parts of Maryland and things where I travel to, you have to have a car. Even if you're a visitor, you have to have a car, because not every place is flush with Uber and Lyft. And so you have to figure out how you're going to get around. And even if they do have Uber and Lyft, you're going to spend $1 million getting from point A to point B, because where you are versus where the store is could be miles and miles and miles. And so you do have to consider that when you're in business, specifically when you're in a certain type of business, and depending on the type of business that you're in, if it's not internet-based and you are client-facing, because you have to think about how you're going to get to your clients or how your clients are going to get to you when you're in those different locales. Do you have a car? Or did you have a bus pass where you were? Can you afford to buy a car there? Where's the location of the nearest city if you're going to be in a rural area? Those are things that you do want to consider. So that's actually a very, very good point to make. 1 second. That's a very good point to make. Even with your business, if you are in a rural area, is there a market for what you're selling? Like, I know, well, for you always have a market. It's kitchen stuff, and it's household stuff that people use. Because no matter, well, I guess some people don't cook, but someday you might have to cook. It might be a snowstorm and you can't make it to a restaurant, and every store might be closed. So you got to be able to heat something up at least. So there.
I will say something with that, because yes, there's. You may think that there's always a market for what I'm selling, but a lot of people don't really see the value. I mean, and I'll be honest, we sell things, and all of our products, they come with a warranty, and you get the experience of having a consultant help you. So it is a little more expensive than if you were to go to Walmart or Target. But so you have to kind of, in certain areas, you have to kind of sell the value of that product to the person. So you want to make sure that they see the value of what you are offering. That they see the value of what you're offering when you're talking to them about the product. Because if I sell something for $12 And someone says, oh, I can get that for $8 at Walmart. Yes, but you know what? That may be true, but when you walk out of Walmart and you open up that package, it's done. There is no guarantee. There is no warranty. There is no going back. So when that breaks, you're going back to Walmart again to spend $8 on it again. So when you tell people things like that, you want to just make them see the value in it. And that's where being knowledgeable of your products and being knowledgeable of what you're offering comes into play. And definitely showing people the value and not just, I always say this has to be a multi-use tool, because I'm not going to spend $20 on something that I'm only going to use every Thanksgiving. I have to show you 5 different ways that you're going to use it so that you know that this is not just going to go. I always say I don't sell you stuff to sit in the cabinet on the shelf. I sell you stuff so that you can use it.
Right. And she does. And so excellent points again, is that you do have to sell the value. No matter what business you're in, you have to sell the value of what you're selling. In particular, like you said, if something is a little more costly, you do have to sell the value, and say what makes you different from your competitors. And I never actually thought about the fact that the stuff that you have has a warranty, and it does. But the stuff that I have, if I was to buy it from Walmart, it would break a whole lot sooner. So you are spending that $8 or $10 or whatever so many more times than if you had, a Pampered Chef thing. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a cousin, but it's true. The stuff that I have in my cabinet that I've gotten from Pampered Chef, I've had for years. I have some newer stuff, but the quality of it is a little bit different. It is a little bit more pricey, but to me, when I buy something, I do want to buy it of value because I want to have it for a little bit longer. I do agree with that, and the fact that, like you said, you show people 5 different ways to use it, because if you're spending more money for it, then you want to know, okay, why am I spending this when I can get this somewhere else? What's the difference in your product versus what's the difference in what I can get from a value place or a value store, or someone who, charges less for it. So that's a very, very, very excellent point with that. I do want to take the time because we're almost up on an hour, and so I want to just mention the fact that you are the first African American woman to almost at the point. I keep saying it because I believe it is going to happen.
We're speaking it into existence, but it's not there yet. And basically what it is we have a career sale. And so based on how long you've been in the business, how much you sell per year or per month, they calculate your career sales. So I am very close to my $1 million mark. And what makes it so exciting is that we do have a lot more African American consultants up and coming in our business, and there's been others who have been the first upper level directors or the first national executive directors. But right now, I am close to becoming the first one to hit this particular milestone, and I'm very, very excited about it.
I'm excited too. I've been telling everybody about it. I've been putting it on my Facebook page. I've been putting it on Instagram. I've been talking to everybody about it. I was like, come on, let's buy it. Come on. And everything. Let's get her there.
Well, thank you so much, Trina. So anybody if y'all want to help us out, you can. Trina's going to give you my website, and you can go on and you can place an order. And I give good gifts too. So for the month of December, everyone who places an order is going to get an additional thank you gift from me.
So you get an extra gift. Come on now. Let's do this. Let's hit this mark. Let's do the sale. I already have my little Tam in the ring for something and everything like that. And also just tell our listeners, because you do allow them to help you out by doing sales. I don't know what that was that I did for you, or what it was called.
You just did it. You don't even know what it's called. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned, we are a home-based business that has that we pretty much were founded on what we call cooking shows, or we called them kitchen shows back then, where we go into your home and we do. I would come in and I talk about my product, but when I do that, I prepare a meal. So you invite your friends over and they shop, eat, drink, and you collect orders, and then you get products for free. Well, in this new age of the internet, we can do what are called online shows. And what Katrina did was she hosted an online party where she invited it was a 1 hour party. She invited all of her friends to come onto the event. They didn't have to be live. They were just there and just watching my posts, where we play games. I do live videos. I talk about a recipe, products, and she earns free products based on her friends purchasing. And that helps out because, again, when we were overseas, our family was not close together. And now I still have friends and family who are still overseas or in different countries. That helps everybody to connect at a common ground on Facebook. So we can do it on Facebook, or I can just send you different videos. So it's still me talking, and I show you other product videos through the company, but I still have that personal connection with you where I go on, Trina would introduce me, or whoever the host is, they introduce me to their guests, and then I get on and I do a show and talk about the products and how I use them every day in my life, because this is something that I do. I use them literally every single day because I have to cook and we have to eat. So I just talk about how I use the product.
Awesome. Yeah, I felt so bad. I was like, I don't know what I did. She just told me to do it, and I did it.
Free product.
I was like, she told me to do it. I just followed the instructions, and that's how easy it is, because she does, even while you're live, give you different instructions on what to do and how to engage your guests. And I'm glad that she did, because I would have been lost trying to figure that out myself. And so I was able to engage everyone there. I had a good amount of people who did come and look,
Yes.
and I think purchase. I hope.
And they participated, they purchased, and then that's how you were able to get your products for free. All of my hosts get items for free, half price, or at a discount. And then for an entire year, since you hosted a party, anytime you order from me, you get 10% off of your order. So the benefits just continue to go.
Yes, yes, the 10% off. Yes. Look, I love a discount.
I'm all about a deal.
I love it. I'm actually coveting a new product that you have out, the cooker thingy.
The quick cooker? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I know we're over an hour. We're almost close to an hour. Do I have time to talk about that real quick?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So the quick cooker it's a pressure cooker, and it has 16 different settings. And when I tell you that thing is literally life-changing, it is. I had never had any type of pressure cooker or anything prior to using that. And when I got that, it just completely changed how I do everything in the kitchen. It basically, what it is it cuts down the time of how you cook everything. I mean, I made chicken thighs in there with barbecue sauce on it in 7 minutes. I mean, it takes a little bit of time to pressure up, but my whole entire dinner was done within 15 minutes. And that was amazing to me, because if you are a busy mom and you forget to take something out for dinner, you can just throw it in there, and it'll just it's just so much easier. Another thing is, because the pressure cooker cooks your food so quickly, it holds in 90% of the nutrients. So if you put your broccoli or your greens in there, if you cook it on the stove, with the longer it cooks, the more like we love the collard greens that's on there overnight. But by the time they're that green, that mushy, that soft, most of the nutrients is they're gone out of them.
Right.
But when you cook inside of a pressure cooker, that holds in most of the ingredients. It still gives you the flavor as if it cooked for a long time, but it holds on to the ingredients because it did not have time to seep out. And that's what I love about it too, because when you're doing things like your greens or your sweet potatoes, it continues to keep all of that nutrients in for you.
Right.
So I love that, and most of my hosts typically get that for 60% off because it is a higher dollar item, but as I mentioned, it has a 5-year warranty, so if anything ever happens to it, you can call me and say, hey, this thing is not working, and we can go and get you a brand new one. So anytime you need anything, you can text me, email me, call me, shoot me a message on Facebook. However, throw up a little sign in the air, smoke signal in the sky. I'm going to be there to help you out.
And I love that. Like I said, I'm coveting that right now. When I first saw the presentation of it, I was like, I want that. So I'm going to be working to try to get that. Just so you know, dear cousin, if you can, because we do have to wrap up, if you can let them know what your website is and anything else like Twitter handle or anything so they can get in contact with you to learn how to get products, and even if they want to become a consultant themselves, they can reach out to you.
Well, thank you. Yes, I didn't talk too much about that, but I'm always looking for new consultants on my team. Over the past 19 years, I've helped over 300 people join the business and build their own business. This is a business that you can do part-time, full-time, online, face-to-face. You choose how you're going to do it. So I will definitely help you out with your business to work it as little or as much as you want to. But my website address is www.pamperedchef, all one word, that's PAMPEREDCHEF .biz/tay, TAI. You can find me on Facebook. It's Tayshena Bridgeport Cunningham. My name is spelled TAISHEENA, or you can just look me up, facebook.com/Tayshena. And you can always just shoot me a text, and my number is 215-688-8956.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being on my show. Thank you, listeners, for listening. Again, I would encourage you to visit my cousin's website to help her this holiday season, and also helping yourself, because you will get some quality things that if you give them as Christmas gifts, people will definitely appreciate them and use them. Thank you again, and I will see you next week.
Thank you for tuning in to Career GPS. Join us next Wednesday for more insights from career experts and thought leaders from around the globe. We'll help you reach the next destination in your career. To be a guest on the show, contact us at info@ventureready.net or call us at 888-712-4956.